So here we are at the beginning, security and privacy controls for federal information systems and organizations. This is revision 4, you could see right there, and we see April 2013 as a date, but it has updates as of 1/22/2015. And back then we had U.S. Department of Commerce Rebecca Blank as the secretary. So in another video I read about the authority here. We're going to scroll past that. I read information about reports on computer systems technology and the abstract of this. So this video is just going to really start digging into the reading itself. You want keywords to go along with this: assurance, computer security, FIPS Publication 199, FIPS 200, FISMA or FISMA, I've heard it pronounced all three ways, Privacy Act, Risk Management Framework, Security Controls, and Security Requirements. I won't read all these names, but it'd be interesting to YouTube them to see if there's any interviews or whatnot. And I'm going to skip the first paragraph reading of FIPS 200, but right here I think is pretty important. They say that the FIPS 200 and NIST Publication 853-53, it always sounds like those numbers are together when I read it like that. Well, in combination, they ensure that appropriate security requirements and security controls are applied to all federal information and information systems. An organizational assessment of risk validates the initial security control selection and determines if additional controls are needed to protect organizational operations. So this includes mission, function, image, or reputation. And this will protect organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, or the nation. And here's the money-making sentence. They say that the resulting set of security controls establishes a level of security due diligent for the organization. So if you have FIPS 200 and 800-53 security controls, you've done your due diligence. So here's another gray box: developing common information security foundations. One of my favorite sci-fi novels or series of novels of all time is called Foundation. But here they're saying in developing standards and guidelines required by FISMA, NIST consults with other federal agencies and the private sector to improve information security, avoid unnecessary and costly duplication of effort, and ensure that its publications are complementary with the standards and guidelines employed for the protection of national security systems. So our first question is, what does NIST hope to achieve by developing these standards and guidelines? Well, the easy answer is these first three. First, improve information security. Second, avoid wasting time. And then third, avoid costly duplication of effort. But this fourth one is a little bit higher level. Essentially, it says keep everybody on the same page. And this is true even at a international kind of level. Now, in addition to a comprehensive public review and vetting process, NIST is collaborating with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI. I know so very little about that organization. Here's the Wikipedia page on it. But to focus, they're collaborating with ODNI, the DoD, and the Committee on National Security Systems, CNSS, to establish a unified information security framework for the federal government. A common foundation, there's that word again, for information security will provide the civil defense and intelligence sectors of the federal government and their contractors more cost-effective and consistent ways to manage information security related risks to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation. I think that qualifies as a run-on sentence. Well, the unified framework will also provide a strong basis for reciprocal acceptance of authorization decisions and facilitate information sharing. Oh, we like information sharing. NIST is also working with many public and private sector entities to establish mappings and relationships between the security standards and guidelines developed by NIST and the International Organization for Standardization and International Electrotechnical Commission, and you've all probably seen the acronyms for what I just read, ISO and IEC. So what was that gray box all about? What NIST is doing, developing common information security foundations. Our next gray box is called security requirements. Now, I don't want to read much about the term security requirement. Down here reads, acquisition personnel develop security requirements for contracting purposes that addresses the protections necessary to achieve mission and business needs. Next paragraph, security requirements are also reflected in various non-technical security controls that address such matters as policy and procedures at the management and operational levels within organizations. Now, organizations may define certain security capabilities needed to satisfy security requirements and provide appropriate mission and business protection. Security capabilities are typically defined by bringing together a specific set of safeguards and countermeasures, i.e., security controls derived from the appropriately tailored baselines that together produce the needed capability. So, simple question, what's another name for safeguards and countermeasures? Those are security controls. And be mindful there are non-technical security controls, as well as technical ones. Now you might think this document is made up of only gray boxes, but soon we'll be out of them. However, this one is titled Technology and Policy Neutrality. The security controls in the catalog, with few exceptions, have been designed to be policy and technology neutral. This means that security controls and control enhancements focus on the fundamental safeguards and countermeasures necessary to protect information during processing, while in storage and during transmission. Therefore, it is beyond the scope of this publication to provide guidance on the application of security controls to specific technologies. So this document will be a broad approach. It's not going to be specific environments of operation either, or communities of interest or mission business functions. Application-specific areas are addressed by the use of the tailoring process described in Chapter 3 and the use of overlays described in Appendix 1. So what will Chapter 3 cover? Application-specific areas. Now, it should also be noted that while the security controls are largely policy and technology neutral, that does not imply that the controls are policy and technology unaware. Understanding policy and technology is necessary so that the controls are meaningful and relevant when implemented. In the few cases where specific technologies are called out in security controls, that is like mobile or PKI, wireless, VoIP, these are like specific technologies, not specific applications, obviously. When these specific technologies are called out in a security control, organizations are cautioned that the need to provide adequate security goes well beyond the requirements in a single control associated with a particular technology. So the question I'm asking here is, when dealing with the specific technologies, what should organizations be aware of? So I think right here was just the key word. It goes beyond a single control. If the organization creates a specific type of account that can access their wireless internet, that specific account, placing a single control on that account is not enough for adequate security. Here they say many of the needed safeguards and countermeasures are obtained from the other security controls in the catalog associated to the initial control baselines. Maybe another good example of this is you don't go to the catalog, Control F and type in mobile and just apply that one control to your mobile security. And I guess that's why these documents are so huge, because there's so many controls. Which makes sense right here when they say there may also be some overlap in the protections articulated by the security controls within the different control families. Nothing wrong with overlap. So in addition to the customer-driven development of specialized security plans and overlays, NIST special publication and interagency reports may provide guidance on recommended security controls for specific technologies and sector-specific applications. Those applications could be smart grid, healthcare, industrial control systems, and mobile. No, those are not applications. Those are a mix of technologies and applications. I would like to rewrite this paragraph for NIST. Employing a technology and policy-neutral security control catalog has the following benefits. First, it encourages organizations to focus on the security capabilities required for the business or mission. Next, it encourages organizations to analyze each security control. And finally, it encourages organizations to specify security policies. Now, I know I didn't read those entire sentences. I think I'm detecting a pattern here. A lot of this writing, you could pretty much finish reading at the first natural stopping point in order to take a breath. The first part of the sentence identifies it. The second part of the sentence explains why. First benefit is we could just focus on the security capability of a particular control. Second is we can analyze each security control in the context of the technology it's being applied to, or the environment or the function, even community of interest. And the third is so that the organization can specify the security policy even though there will be a variable of parameters involved, either from one organization to another or within the time of the organization's existence. So one more long sentence here. It says that the specialization of security plans using the tailoring, guidance, and overlays together with a robust set of technology and policy neutral security controls promotes cost-effective risk-based information security for organizations in any sector for any technology and in any operating environment. That sounds like a terrific conclusion to the gray box about neutrality. But to make the video a little bit longer, let me get one more gray box in. Maybe I could retitle this to Dry Gray Box Reading. At least this is part one of who knows how many readings I'll do. Security controls in this NIST special publication are designed to facilitate compliance with applicable federal laws, executive orders, directives, policies, regulations, standards, and guidance. So these controls are created with many masters in mind, right? Compliance is not about adhering to static checklists or generating unnecessary FSMA reporting paperwork. I wonder if that's like a joke or a stab at the FSMA legislation. Well, they say rather, compliance necessitates organizations executing due diligence with regard to information security and risk management. Information security due diligence includes using all appropriate information as part of an organization-wide risk management program to effectively use the tailoring guidance and inherent flexibility in NIST publication. So there's a good question we could create right there. How about this? What does due diligence mean? I think we could say it means using all appropriate information to effectively tailor this guidance NIST Publications is giving us. So that's what it means. This is why we do it, so that the selected security controls documented in organizational security plans meet the mission and business requirements of organizations. And I'm going to add the word prove here. Why do we want to prove due diligence? We want to prove it so the security plans will meet the mission. Using the risk management tools and techniques that are available to organizations is essential in developing, implementing, and maintaining the safeguards and countermeasures with the necessary and sufficient strength of mechanism to address the current threats to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation. Maybe somebody like me who enjoys Twitter so much struggle with these very long sentences. But it makes sense that the tools, techniques given to us in these publications are essential to maintain security. And in case anybody didn't know why we need security, because there are threats to organizational operations, assets, individuals, and everything else they say right there. Employing effective risk-based processes, procedures, and technologies will help ensure that all federal information systems and organizations have the necessary resilience to support ongoing federal operations, critical infrastructure applications, and continuity of government. So if you weren't convinced yet as to why you should use these controls, I think the first few gray boxes really, I don't know about you, motivated me to read these controls, buy into the controls. And in the next video, we'll go ahead and read about the cautionary note they have here. We could quickly scan through the table of contents and actually begin reading 800-53.